Hello everybody, Corey here. We're going to go over the daily trades and holdings. Just a reminder, I'm not a qualified licensed investment or financial advisor. I just gather the data and present it to you for you to make your own decisions and opinions. YieldMax ETFs are extremely risky. They are income ETFs and not growth ETFs. Please make sure you understand the way these work, and you can see the definition of all these risks on their website. So we're going to just jump straight in because it is so very late or so very early, however you want to look at it. But AIYY, we don't have trades, and yes, we will be going back and forth between the ETFs, or we'll look at the trades and then we'll do the holdings because since it is Thursday, there are a lot of trades here, so we will check those out. All right, so we have and also just to let you know, I have on here the first crash trades also. So that took me a long time earlier because I didn't have my formula set up for that because I wasn't sure how they were going to pull through. So anyway, that to come, just in case you skip, you like to skip forward and go to certain ETFs or whatever. I just want you to let you know that we do have some trades there for crash if you're wanting to check that out. But anyway, we have AIYY here. We have a short call that expires tomorrow. Let's close all that raw data. I don't want to see that mess. Sorry about that. So we have the $25 strike price. Okay, and let me go through this because I always forget to do this. And then when I don't, somebody will ask me. So good example here, because that one up there is just not a good example. So AMDY here. So with these long, not the short ones like crash, but with these other ones that we're going long on, or we're using the short calls, however you want to look at it here. We have the synthetic positions. We usually want the stock price to be over those strike prices, and then for the short calls, we want the stock to be below the short call price, or strike price. So you can see here the stock price is 152, the synthetic's 150, so the stock is 2% over that, which is the reason for the green 2% in column L. And then for the short calls here, we have 157 and 156 and 157 and 160 strike prices, and the stock's 152, which it's under it. So you can see that it's under it by 3 and 5%, and it's green because that's good, right? We want it to be under it. So just to show you, we want the stock price to be between. Normally, we want it to be between the synthetic and the short call price. This one up here is not really normal because our synthetic and short's exactly the same in this case. But it's a little different. Sometimes you'll see the short call below it. Just depends on what the stock price was when the synthetic was put on, to know where that strike price is going to be. Yeah, which was sort of the demise of AIYY, was because of the last strike price. But anyway, so we have the short call here with the $25 strike price, and we'll just go with the fact that all of these short calls expire tomorrow unless I say otherwise, and that'll keep down on some of the talk there. $25 strike price, which we are currently, I don't know, I guess I thought I said 23 in my head. 25, and we're at 24.31, so we are 3% below that, 69 cents. Now let me close that one. All right, and so if we look in column AB, this is where we have the market value per share price. So we obviously have the market value in column T, but column AB is going to show us how this affects the stock price of the YieldMax ETF, and in this case AIYY. So we are underneath the synthetic position by 3% there. And remember, we want it to be above the strike price for the synthetics, but since we're below it, we have the negative 3%, and it's bringing the AIYY share price down 24 cents a share. Then we have our short call down here, along with how it affects the market value, affects the stock price. But then we also have in column AC, which is possible upside for the YieldMax ETF stock price. Of course, we only have 1 day left, and then I don't know what the possibilities are that the stock would actually get to $25 tomorrow. I guess it depends on how green the day is for tomorrow. But yeah, we won't go too in depth then on the rest of these, just to get a good overview there. So we will look at AMDY. I don't know if we have any closing trades, so let's just check that out real quick. We do. So what they ended up doing here, I don't have any highlights, okay. So they ended up rolling the synthetic that they already had from May 17th, which was going to be next week, to July. So it's going to be pushed out a couple of months. And then we go from looks like they rolled that down. We had a 160 strike price. Our new strike price for the synthetics will be 150. And you can see it's for the same number of shares there. And then if we go to our short calls here, they closed out the short calls that were going to expire tomorrow. And I'm just looking at the share count. It is the exact same share count or number of contracts. But they went from a 150 and a 155 strike price to a 157.50 and a 160 strike price. And then if we look at the synthetic trades, that's not right. Is that right? Yeah, I guess so. Synthetic trades ended up costing us $8.2 million. Well, that sucks. But I guess that does make sense because AMD did go down. But then, I don't know, did it just come up or something? I don't know why now was the time that we chose to close this out. And see, this is what I was afraid of. So AMDY is down at $16, and this is what happened to AIYY. Of course, it was down further. Of course, it wasn't as up as high as AMDY was. But it's all about these timing of these synthetic positions and them getting closed out at a decent time. Of course, having them expire right at earnings each time does not help. So we're in April. Yep, these are going to expire around earnings again. All right. Let's see. I was looking up the stock price. Sorry. I was just going to do it on my phone so I didn't have to do it all up in here. So they did come up some, but then it actually came up a few days ago, and then it started coming back down. So, but it's like not much, right? So it was at 156 a few days ago, and then they chose to close it out somewhere around $153. Of course, a week or so ago it was at 160. But anyway, whatever. I just haven't been seeing a lot of the stock market this week, so I'm not sure what all really has gone up and down, except for maybe on a very limited number of stocks. But anyway, so yeah, that's why that costs a lot of money. A lot of money there. And then, yep, it cost us money to do those as well. So we didn't make any money on either one of those, and so it was a total of $8.77 million in trades for AMDY. If we go over here, we can see those new trades, but we did already just go over those. But all of our positions are new over here, so our short calls won't expire until next week. We had those 157.50 and 160 strike prices, which were currently under by 3 and 5%. And then, of course, we have our synthetic, and you can see the market value stuff there. And if we look at the possible upside for these, well, the majority of the contracts are sitting at the 157.50 strike price. So maybe about a 40-cent upside there, because remember on these, we have the 24 cents for this other one, but remember that 157.50, once we start going above that to get to that 160, well, that one's going to start bringing the stock price down. It's going to be negative, right? How much, I don't know. It's going to be based on whatever the market value is. So, we might, 38, 40 cents, something around there. But we'll see. It all just depends on how much they're worth at the time. Let's go on to AMSI. Looks like they had, no, we are missing data here. And it's funny because this is the one I fixed. And that's where I'm having a problem right now, is because the trades, I had this stuff fixed, and then there was a couple of things where I had to go fix, and then of course me fixing those things messed some other things up, like this, and I didn't realize it until later. But now I can't get the holdings to load, which is why I'm doing this one before I did the daily, because I was trying to give it time. But the issue with that one is feeding from these, so it's like I can't truly do either one of them 100%. Because of waiting for data to download properly. Sorry. Let me look on the computer here. Come on. All right. I think we have one crisis averted. Except for the color code change, but that's okay. All right, so AMSI here. This is what I thought. I pulled one thing over, but not the other. Okay, so we have AMSI here. They ended up adding 60 contracts to these. So they added 60 to the synthetic, and then they created a new short call there with the 195 strike price. And you can see those individual prices if you want to see right there. But when we come over here, we can see those two added, but the one that I just did, or just adjusted, doesn't have that this is new here. But we just actually saw it on the trades tab, so we don't really need to look at those anyway. But we have the short call here. We have 4 short calls, 3 that will expire tomorrow, and 1 that will expire next week. So we have a 187.50 strike price, and we're currently $2 over that, or 1% over that. This is also where the majority of our contracts are, and we can see that over on the right hand side. So as far as the short calls go, there's no upside for these. Now, as these go up and these get more negative, I mean, there might be a little bit of adjustment on with the synthetic. Just sort of depends on how the market values change there. It could get a little better, it could get a little worse. I don't know which one will do better than the other, or how quickly. It's really all in the market, right? So we have the 190 and the 192.50 strike price. So obviously the 190, we're only underneath that 50 cents. Then we have the 192.50, $3 or 2%. And then we have the one for next week with the 195 strike price, which we're currently under by 3%. And our synthetics don't expire there for a couple of months, but you have all that data. So then we'll move on down to Apply. Let me see, I'll pull it up on my computer. But we did have one, which was odd. So I don't know, but you can see here that there's a difference there. What was that? Okay, so this one did expire. Did expire tomorrow. I'm just curious. I'm sorry, I took the pin off here. Yeah, see how we had this 75 shares there? So the reason they ended up closing it out, it expires this week, but it was also over that strike price yesterday. So as soon as it came back down, well, I thought it came down today. Maybe it didn't. I'm looking. The trade's over here. I was trying to see what they paid here. Almost $6.50 a share there. So, yeah, and they did not, purchase more contracts to go with this. Usually you would have 2 lines, but they'll wait till tomorrow, I guess, to see what they have, which it's not like they have more to go with it because the other one doesn't expire tomorrow, so I don't know. I guess I just want to wait and see. But anyway, you can see that this one was closed out. So, so we'll have that right there, yellow. We'll check that out. But this other short call that we have, it doesn't expire until next week. It's 187.50 strike price, which we're underneath by 2% or about $3. And it looks like we're a few cents underneath our synthetic already. This isn't until July. We do look like we have about a possibility of an upside of 27 cents there for this short call. And I just realized, so these values, if I had to adjust them after the fact, I did not go back. So let me just do that, because there's going to be several of them that I would have to adjust. So it doesn't make sense for me to adjust those, one at a time. So what I'm going to do is just repaste. And then do that. That way it will update all of them, so now you can actually see the correct data on the left-hand side here. Probably Amazon was probably the same way here because I had to change this line. So in case you were looking at the market value, the total market values on the left, the short call and the synthetic, there's that updated value, because I'm sure that was wrong, at least on AMZ, because I had made a change after the formulas were done, so it didn't update. But anyway, we're going to move on to Coney here. We did not have any closed transactions, only adding 2, so we can review those right here. So they added 265 contracts to the existing synthetic positions and created a new short call with the expiration of next week. And so we'll cover that here while we do the rest of them, because we have 6 short calls now. 3 of them that will expire tomorrow, 230, 237.50, and 255. And then the 3 that expire next week are 220, 222.50, and 225. So all of those are lower than the ones for this week. So this week's are the ones that expire for tomorrow. We're underneath those straight prices by 9, 11, and 17%. And the ones that expire next week, we're underneath those by 4, 5, and 6%. And then we're also underneath our synthetic position by 19%. And it expires next week as well. It just keeps getting worse every day. In fact, I'm pretty sure I saw coin down at like 206 this morning too. But if we look over on the right-hand side, we can see that the synthetic position What if we look on the left? Actually, we can see that the synthetic is a negative $102.5 million. And so in column AB, we can see that the value of the synthetic, the market value of the synthetic positions is bringing this stock price down $5.03, or just $5 a share here. We do have possibility of some upside, unless something just really happens tomorrow. I don't know. It's $2.34. It would be awesome for that to happen, because we're losing a lot of money on this synthetic if the stock price can't get up by next week, by the end of next week. Yeah, it'd be nice if it would come up tomorrow. Sorry, just thinking about this. All right. Anyway, there's no sense of harping on it. This one's probably going to lose a lot of money. So I'm going to just move on to Dizzo. So it looks like we did have a closeout trade here. So let's move over to the trades. So they took that short call. They rolled it from this week to next week. And the strike price changed from 120 to 107. And what they actually did, they only did 630 contracts here of the 1,260. And you can see they closed them out for 1 cent a piece there. So we'll have some extra shares there for tomorrow. And we have one contract that expires tomorrow. So we can see we have the two short calls. It looks like both of these are 107 because of Disney's earnings. They made the stock price tank here. And I just have those contracts or shares highlighted yellow right there because, they don't match the synthetic because they didn't use all of them. So they'll use them tomorrow along with these other ones from the expiration date for tomorrow, for those other 115 shares there. So we can see that we're underneath that synthetic position that expires next week by 12%. It's bringing the stock price down $2.49 a share. For these two synthetics as they're sitting. Well, no, they make trades tomorrow, but, it shows a possibility of upside of 21 cents of both of these. But any trades they do tomorrow will affect that. So let's move on to Phoebe here. So they closed out they rolled two of the synthetics here. So let's go over to this page. We can see here, I don't know why I'm not zoomed in more. Maybe I zoomed out. I apologize if you couldn't see them as well. But, they closed out the synthetics that were going to expire next week. They had a $5.25 strike price. 1,450 contracts. And it looks like it cost about $7.5 million. $7.16 million to close these out. Because the strike price was $5.25. If you remember, for our synthetics, we want the stock price to be above that. And the stock price today was around $4.75. So that's about $50 a share. So yeah, they paid $51 a share, or $51.30. All right. I just don't know. I'm just recounting. I was sitting here thinking maybe, I don't know, maybe I was wrong a while ago when I said, no, we'll be in earnings. No, we'll still be in earnings. Now, they could choose to close them out before earnings happens. And July is not like it's a green month either, so that would be smarter, but I don't know. I'm not, you know, I'm not the experts and I don't know anything about any of this. And that's why I let the experts do the trading and all I do is show you what they did or what they post on their website that they did, because those are sometimes two different things, as we will see on the next ETF. But anyway, so you can see these two new synthetics here, and you see they also have another synthetic here, which actually has a lower strike price than that one did. But oh, and it doesn't even have hardly any contracts here either. So yeah, they closed out the one that had the most contracts. But yeah, so we have 3 short calls here. Oh my goodness. 2 short calls that expired tomorrow and they are over their strike prices. Meta's at 475. These strikes are 455 and 460. So the one with 110 contracts is over the share price by $25 or 4 or 20 $20 or 4%, and the one with the almost all the shares over 1,400 of the contracts there, it's over by 3% or $15 a share. Then we have the short call that expires next week, which is at the, oh, I said we had a synthetic up there, and we do, and what did I do? I must have accidentally changed this one. Oh, well, no. I must have accidentally changed this one earlier. I must have thought it was a short call, but in reality it is is a synthetic. And here I was thinking we had one green, and that would actually not be the case. I guess I just saw it there with all those and just thought wrong. All right, so now we're going to be all red again. Of course, my color code's off because it's off on my other sheet. But anyway, so yeah, we're just red all down through there. We're 8% underneath that synthetic there, which is the 515 strike price. So if we go over to the right hand side, we can see, of course, they closed out the one that was really hurting us the most. What was that? Oh yeah, it was $50-something a share. So these are bringing down the stock price now only about 14 cents for the synthetics. And then we have our short calls down there bringing the stock price down another 67 cents a share. I guess at least by next week we'll have all these closed out. For better or worse, they'll be closed out. But on the left-hand side, we can see that right now our synthetic value is only negative 524,000, while our short call value is negative 4.45 million. Just curious to where we were yesterday. All right. Let's move on. Oh my goodness. I'm too tired for this. Okay, let's jump over here and I'll just try to tell you what's going on, and then hopefully they'll fix it tomorrow. We just won't necessarily have the trades on here to have, to be able to track them. But I didn't make a whole spreadsheet like I've had to do on Alti before. I was trying to do this earlier. But if we look over here, this is the day before. So this is yesterday's holdings. So you see we have one synthetic, 170 strike price with 2,170 shares, which was right based on everything up to here. 2170. When we go to today's trades, the first two lines, 170 strike price, 2,170. So they close those out, or they'll roll them is what they're going to do, but they closed them out. The next two lines underneath that is showing that they are closing out 40 contracts at a 175 strike price for a synthetic. But as you see and saw over here, we don't have a synthetic call and put with the 175 strike price. We have one put and it's 170. Now you could say, oh, well, this down here is a call with 40. Yes. So I went back, trades for yesterday for Google. They had added 40 contracts to the 170 synthetic, and then they created a new short call for the 40 contracts at the 175. So that was fine. So here they're trying to close out two synthetics that we're not showing that they had. But when I go look at the trades here, they have a short call on here that is not on the trades. So remember the 40 we were just looking at? Well, now it shows 80. So my guess is that they, again today, did another 40, another 40 contracts, and that they had, I don't know why they would have, but they must have created another synthetic position expiring next Friday with the 175. Normally, they would have just, with it just being next week, they would have just done further out. So I'm not sure. I don't know. I don't even know if this is a real trade or not. Well, we won't know until they post, updated holdings over the next couple of days, assuming they can get it fixed tomorrow. Sometimes they'll be fixed the next day. Sometimes it takes them several days to figure out what was going on and to fix things. And we may or may not see them on the trades. But here we have that. So I try to document here and then make some notes over here in case I forgot again later. And then on top of that, this one at the top that they show that they just closed out is actually showing on here, which is the put portion of it. So then that whole line I just made red because, if it was there, it was closed, so it should have never been there to begin with. I mean, there is the thing they could have thought, oh, it matched up with this that they already had on there as a call, but the contracts didn't even match, and if they'd have really looked, that wouldn't have been it either. I mean, but there have been instances before where I've seen some of these. It's usually on Ulta. Usually Ulta is the one that has the issues. There's usually, yeah. But anyway, it's happened. So we have, those 40 contracts. Whether they're true or not, I don't know, but they've also, we have those added here. If it is true, then the 2210 there is fine. The 80 is fine. It's just that we don't have it documented that they even opened the 40 contracts for the synthetic call and put to even close them. And we don't have the documented trade of the 40 contracts for the short call, the additional 40. So anyway, that's it. So, yeah, if we just sort of look here, this is what we have right now. We have two short calls that are going to expire tomorrow. We have a 170 strike price, which we're under by 4 cents, which is where the majority of our contracts are at. And then we have our short call with the 172.50 strike price, and we're underneath that by 1%, and it only has 60 contracts. And then, of course, we have a short call for next week with the 175 strike price, which we're under 3%. And then I don't know if we have 40 contracts or 80. So, and then you see the data in the right-hand side if you'd like to see that information over there. But I don't see any upside here, at least looking at the short call themselves, itself. There is a possibility we could have some upside with the synthetic. I just don't know how much the short call will offset that. I don't know when they'll end up closing the short calls. There's lots of factors going on there tomorrow. But anyway, we are going to move on to JPMO. So we do have 805 new contracts here. So they added, I'm sorry, I said new. We need to go over. I forgot I passed by these, but we do need to go over these. So they went ahead and took the synthetics. And as you can already see, we're negative 712,000 overall trades. But they took the synthetics that were going to expire next week with a $200 strike price. We ended up closing today at $197.50. And then they paid 76 cents for one set, and they received 76 cents for the calls and paid out $4.10 a share for the puts for that one. So to close that one, it cost $269,000. If we add all of the synthetics together, it was negative $471,000. But as for the 805 contracts, they rolled it to July and from a 200 strike price to a 195 strike price. It just reminds me. Oh, I was going to say I highlighted something to point something out, but that's for crash. We haven't got there yet. And then we have the short calls here that were going to expire tomorrow. Those have been, let's see, yeah. Those are now going to be next week. The share count there is changed a little bit along with the strikes. So we went from a 192.50 and a 195 to a 197.50 and 200. And then you can see the prices if you want over here. But we're going to go look at the trades. We're going to go look at the holdings. So you see all those trades on the left-hand side. We just had to cover the other tab because we closed some things out. So you see those two short calls there. Well, it looks like we closed at 197.50. So we're right at to the penny to the first short call there. And so then we're underneath the other one by 1%. And you can see this in column AB, how this affects a share price. And not much upside there on that other, the next short call there. Since, there would be some, but the majority of the contracts are sitting at the short call, but it's only 500, and we still have 300 at the other one. So, anyway, so we're going to try to get through these. Murney, we don't have any trades to go over. We have a short call that expires tomorrow with the 131 strike price. We're currently under by 6%. And as you can see on the right-hand side, possibility that we could come up $1.29 if the stock came up, and I don't know why it would, but there's the possibility there. And then if we go down to MSFO, we don't have any trades there either. We have 3 short calls that expire tomorrow. We have a 412.50 strike price. We're only under that by 18 cents, and that's where the majority of our contracts are sitting. And then we have the 415 and the 417.50 strike prices, which were under by 1%. We also have our short calls that expire next week with a $425 strike price. So we're currently underneath that by 3%, which is bringing the stock price down at 67 cents a share. And it looks like no upside for the short calls. Like 18 cents from the one. We could come up possibly, well, depends on how much it would come up, but the synthetic could make it come up just a little bit. Or, if we can not have to pay the 8 cents to close that out, if it can get closer to the end of the day to 1 cent or something, but they may try to close it early. Who knows? I don't know. Looking at them paying to close out all these other ones before next week, they may end up closing out the synthetics tomorrow. Who knows, right? Anyway, let's move on to Misty. So Misty, they just added here. Okay, we got a little breather here. So they added 14 contracts to the synthetics here and created a new short call that expires next week with that 13.65 strike price. We're currently underneath that by 7%. We also have the 13.15 strike price and the 13.70, and those expire tomorrow. We're underneath those by 4 and 8%. And then we have another one for next week with a 13.35 strike price, which we're under by 5%. We are underneath our synthetic position there, which is bringing the stock price down 54 cents a share. It does look like we have a possible upside of about $1 if we could get up there tomorrow to the 13.15 strike price. We're going to move on to Neptune. We have no trades. So we have a short call that expires tomorrow, which is 5.85 strike price, and we are over that by 5%. Or $15, $20, $27. We're also underneath our synthetic position that expires next week, and we're underneath it by 4%. So the synthetic's bringing the stock down 62 cents a share, and the short call's bringing the stock down 76 cents a share. So that's roughly 140. Why am I making that a 4? $1.38 a share roughly, based on being in the wrong directions and the wrong places here for this synthetic and short call. Yeah, I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. Let's move on. We have NVIDIA here. Man, all these synthetics. We have our short calls that expire tomorrow. Wow, we were above the 920 the last time I looked, but now we're under the 890, only by a couple of dollars, but we're under it. And then we have the 920 strike price, which we're under by 4%, which is also where the majority of our contracts are at. We have the synthetic that expires next week. We're currently underneath that by 3%, which sucks because we were above it. But the market value per share price, the synthetics bringing the stock down 77 cents a share. Looks like we could have maybe 70 or 80 cent possibility of upside here if the stock could go up tomorrow. This is interesting though. We had no trades on this. Well, the stock price, okay, so the stock price did go down. Okay, I'm looking at I was looking at NVIDIA's share price, and I don't know why I wasn't really seeing. I'm sorry, I was looking, at NVIDIA's share price and not NVIDIA's there. But anyway, let's move on. OARC here, we have short call that expires tomorrow. We do not have any trades to go over. $46 strike price. We're underneath that by 4%, so that looks good. But we do have our synthetic that expires next week with the $50 strike price. We're underneath that by 12%, so that's bringing the stock price down $1.51 a share. Should we be able to go up a couple of dollars tomorrow to the strike price? Possibility of seeing some upside of 45 cents a share there. We're going to go down to... So we have some numbers missing over there. We're going to go down to PayPay, and we do have some trades to go over here. All right, trades. All right, so we have PayPay here. So you can see we had 2 short calls that were going to expire tomorrow with the strike prices of $68 and $69. And those were closed out. You can see that was a total of 2,555 contracts. They closed them out for 2 cents a share. And then they only used 1,200 of those for next week so far. So you'll see that there with the new strike price of $65 for next week. You can see they brought in a premium of 61 cents a share for those 1,200 contracts. Total trades ended up being 68,000 there. So let's move over here. So we can see that short call, we're currently underneath that 1%, which is only 55 cents. Amazing. Anyway, you can see the highlighted yellow because we're not using all of ours. So hopefully they'll be able to go out tomorrow a little bit with that strike price. It looks like right now there's just an upside of about 16 cents a share. Of course, it's not, I don't take this into account, but usually the short call is not that high. But yeah, if we could get up to about 16, but close it out in the end for 1 cent, there's also would make an 11-cent difference on the market value there. Of course, we got a lot going on before we get there. But anyway, we're going to move on to SQUE here. We don't have any trades to go over. We have 2 short calls that expire tomorrow and 1 for next week, and we are over the strikes for all of them. On top of our synthetic expires next week, and we're under the strikes on those. So the 72 strike, which is where half of our contracts are, we're over it by $1.20. It's bringing the share price down 21 cents a share. We have the $73 strike price, we're over by 20 cents. It's bringing the stock price down 11 cents a share. And then we have the $73 strike price for next week, which we're over by 20 cents a share. But there's only 145 contracts, so it's only bringing the stock down 3 cents a share. Then we have our synthetic price that expires next week, which we're under by 9% or $7, and it's bringing the stock price down $2 a share. So, all right, we're going to move on. Tesla, we did have a trade. It was closing something out and then not using it. So let's go over here. So they had a short call that was going to expire tomorrow with $195 strike price. They paid a penny to close the 6,690 contracts out. I guess they're going to see what's going to happen tomorrow. So we're left with two short calls that expire tomorrow, $182.50 and $185 strike price, which were underneath those 6 and 7%. There's a possibility of upside tomorrow, so somewhere around 90 cents, should Tesla decide to go back up. But man, it's down to $172 today. We have our brand new synthetics, which we are under by 2 and 4%, which is bringing the stock share price down 45 cents a share. Then we have Zomo here, and then I'm sorry, usually I have these covered, and I guess I zoomed out again. But we have a short call that expires tomorrow for Zomo. A 117 strike price, we are over that by $1.44. And then we have our synthetic that expires next week, which we're under by 1%. So the synthetic's bringing the stock price down 36 cents a share, and the short call is bringing the stock price down 24 cents a share. So that's 60 cents a share there. Anyway, we're going to move on to, let's skip this for a second. So we have YMAG here that closed at $20.25, and then YieldMax that closed at $20.51. So now we have Crush. So this is our Tesla short, and they added 30 contracts to the synthetic position, and then, hold on, I think we have to, yes, well, no, we don't. Have to go over here. I don't know why we probably had new there, so this actually isn't new. It's because I hadn't had my formula set up yet, and I didn't pay any attention to this part because I was having a time trying to set up all of my keys and make all of my formulas work. But so let's try to swap everything around. So first, let's just address the issue that we have here. So the way they've been doing the short here, just easier to show you the day before. So they had the call there had 2 cents on the end of it, and then they had the put with no cents on the end of it. And so today when they did the trades, they ended up putting on the trade 1 cent on the end of the put. So now these are separated out. So 30 and 135, but they'll fix this. It's just going to be like a cent thing. So I guess they'll see which one they're going to do. Are they going to keep the 0 cents or the 1 cent for those to match up? So that's the easy part. Now talking through everything here. And then I don't know how many new people we have either, but our short puts here. So let's start with the synthetic because that's what we normally do. So on our other ones, we want our stock price to be above the synthetic position. In this case, it would be the opposite. We want the stock price to be below the synthetic position. And let's zoom out just a little bit here so you can try to see the whole picture. So I don't have to keep scrolling back and forth here. Yep, so we have a 180 straight price. We can see the stock price for Tesla is 171.97. So it is below it, so that's a good thing. So we have a green 4%. Showing we are under, the stock price is under the strike price by 4%, but it's good. So that's why we have it as a positive, which to make it green per the formula. And then I have on the right hand column AB, we can see that the market value per share is 34 cents. So it's bringing the crash stock price up 34 cents for the synthetic itself. All right, and so that's the 2 synthetic lines at the top and then the 1 synthetic line at the bottom there. And then we look at our short puts. So on the other one, we have short calls. And for the short calls, we do not want the stock price to go above. I'm looking at this. This is not right. I have these two lines doing something different here. It's not just the lines. I mean, the two lines. Oh, no. Okay, I see. One is above and one is under the strike price. I thought I had the numbers, the positive and green and red wrong there. But we have our short put, and instead of like our short calls, now I feel like I need to start over because I've started to say it 2 or 3 times now. This is what I get trying to explain it every video for anybody new watching. I know I did a separate video on this to go over it, but and I didn't. I thought I fixed the headers also, and I guess I didn't. So here we want the stock price. So it is under. I don't know. See, a while ago I was thinking it was. It is. I'm freaking losing it at this point. So 172 is the Tesla stock price. So it does fall between 162 and 175. So we want the stock price to stay below the strike price. So above. I'm sorry. We want to do the opposite because we're talking about a short put now, not a short call. So we want, since the strike price is 175, we want the stock price to be above the 175. And in this case, it's not. And we can see that by the negative 2% there, which is also showing, if you look on the right hand side, that this is bringing the stock price down 31 cents a share because of that. And then on our other one, the stock price is above the 162.50, which is why we have a green 6%. And then it's bringing the stock price only down 5 cents a share. Now, it could be, you could look at that and be like, oh, because it's the amount, the number of contracts per each one. But if we look at column S, this is the price column, right? So that's per share. So regardless of how many shares or contracts there are, this is the per share amount. So the one that is, the one where the stock price is not over the strike price, it would cost $3.43 a share to close out. But for the 162.50 strike price, since the stock price is above that, it is a lower amount, which is only $2.10 to close out. Now, it's also further out by a couple of weeks, so that also contributes to a higher amount, even though this still, the strike price and the stock price are fine, just to let you know that part. Whew. And then we have our long call over here. And so we have the strike price here at $265. And so we're underneath that by 35%. So this is looking okay. And in fact, you can see it's bringing the stock price up 7 cents a share. Sorry, I think this is the worst. I don't think I've had this issue with this one these other nights, but it also wasn't 3 o'clock in the morning when I was trying to re-explain it again. So I apologize there. But anyway, I know this is a long video, lots of trades. It was Thursday, and then tomorrow we'll have some more trades to make it another long video. So yay for you and me both, I promise. But anyway, hopefully I can get it out earlier tomorrow night, or I'll do it on the weekend. I'll try to do better with my time management, and for all my Discord members out there, I might have to make sure I don't look at any Discord messages. So anyway, thanks for all of you that joined me and made it this far. I hope y'all have a great weekend, and I will talk with y'all later. Thanks. Bye.